Hello everyone, so today I just want to do a tutorial on how to select the right engine on Big Ol on Payday 2. So for basically for noobs, this mission can be a bit, it's not frustrating because they get one piece of information and then pick up an engine, and then the people that actually know what they're doing think he has the wrong engine, and then there's just a lot of confusion, right? So I'm just doing this video to help first timers to the mission. So what you need to find are the three pieces of information. So how many hoses, what gas, and what PSI. So for number 1 and number 2, these will be on notepads, and for number 3, this will be on a computer. So on the notepads, there can be either 2 in the house, 1 in the house and 1 in the lab, or 2 in the lab, but that's a very rare occurrence. So what we'll do now is we'll just get straight into the video and I'll show you where everything is. Right, so there's two ways you can do this mission. The first way is you can stealth it. Now, if you stealth it and you get caught, and pretty much everyone gets down, it's a fail because it's a pro job. So the best way I recommend is to do it loud. Or if you want, one person can stealth it, but if they get caught, just make sure everyone else has armor. That's the best I can recommend. But if I had to recommend one strategy for all 4 players, I would recommend loud. So what I'm going to do from the outside, lads, is I'm just going to show you every position of where the notepads can be in the house. So as I said, the notepads can be, 1 in the house, 1 in the lab, 2 in the lab, or 2 in the house. So you just have to look everywhere in the house. So as I said before, the 2 notepads will tell you how many hoses are on the engine and what gas to look for. But once we get into finding the notepads, we'll discuss that. So basically, all you have to do is just look everywhere around the house. Basically, all the positions that I'm showing you now. It can be absolutely anywhere, like on a bedside, or in this case, coming up now on the table. So this is the first piece of information. So it tells us the number of hoses. So H, obviously hose. So it can be H, which is 1 hose, 2x by H, which is 2 hoses, 3x by H, which is 3 hoses. So once we get down to the lab, you'll see when I point out how many hoses are on the blue canister. So if it says 3 by H, there's going to be 3 hoses connected. So as I said, once we get down to the labs and you'll see the picture that I'm going to show you, you'll understand it more clearly. So now that we know that piece of information, what I always try to do is just write it in the chat, just so that you remember, or so basically everyone else knows. But just make sure, if you are doing it, make sure before the start of the game, ask people, do you know how to do this? Because if they don't and they take the wrong engine, all hell's going to fucking break loose. So I'm just going to show you the remaining positions in the house. So as I said, it can be literally everywhere around the house. Just check everywhere, because it can be bedside, it can be on a table, it can be in the kitchen, it can be on the pool table, anywhere. So just check absolutely everywhere, because there's going to be maybe 1 or 2 occurrences when you play when you don't look properly and you just have to recheck. So just retrace your steps and go through everything. So now this is the part I was talking about with the power. In this game, no one gave me help at the front door with the power. I had to try to literally defend the front door, which is not a good idea. 2 people should have, defend the power at the front door, because literally every single guard comes through the front door. So basically, once the lab is open, you'll come down and you'll see a whiteboard. Now the whiteboard will tell you what gas corresponds to what color can. So in this case, it's nitrogen is equal to yellow, deuterium is equal to blue, and helium is equal to green. But again, you'll see that when it comes up to it. So now we need to find the second piece of information, which is what gas. Now in this case, we couldn't really see it because the power was off. So when you find the second notepad, you'll see this deuterium. So deuterium, as we just found out, is equal to blue, helium is equal to green, and nitrogen is equal to yellow. So now we know how many hoses and what gas. So in this case, it's 3 hoses and it's deuterium, so blue can. So the last piece of information we need to find is on the computer in the lab. So just tell people in the game, do not shoot the computer screens in the lab. I've seen so many times people do that, and then literally you have to restart the whole team because you don't know what PSI the thing is, and you just have to guess. So don't shoot the computer screen. So when you come up and you see a computer screen like this one coming up here, yep. Okay lads, so once you come up to this computer screen, you'll see a number up the top right that says greater than or equal to, or in the other case it'll be less than or equal to 5,783 PSI. If it's greater than or equal to, it'll be 400 on the gauge or greater. So it could be 400, 450, 500, and so on. If it's less than or equal to 400 or 5,783 psi, it'll be 400 on the gauge or less. So now we're going to start looking at the engines and you'll see what I mean. So now what we want to do is we want to go around and look at the engines. And one thing I always recommend, lads, is put a flashlight on your gun down here because the power always goes off. Now this is the correct engine. So first thing we're going to look at is the gauge. So in this case, it's 400 or greater on the on the gauge, and it's about 500. So that's the first thing off our checklist. The next thing we need to check is the number of hoses. So look at this blue canister, I should say. It has 3 hoses connected. So that's the second piece of information confirmed. So the last piece of information we want to look at is the color of the can. So the color of the can is blue, which is diatrum, so it matches all the information. Now, you may get cases where it's like in the back, it's green, but it matches all the criteria. So just make sure you do a checklist and you make sure that it matches all the criteria, because there's going to be one engine which is correct and there's going to be another engine that might have like 3 hoses. I think what was in this game, 3 hoses. It was blue can, but I think it was less than 400. So just make sure that you check everything, because if you take the wrong engine, it's just a pain in the arse and you have to go back and you have to survive and it's just an absolute pain. So just make sure you check everything. So just check each engine just to make sure that you don't pick the wrong one. Like in this case, there it is there. That's the one I was talking about. It had 2 of the bits of criteria, not the last one though. So you just have to check and even double check. So in this case, I'm just doing it to check. So blue can, diatrum, we know it's 400 psi or more, or 400 on the gauge or more, and it's blue can. So this is the correct engine. Now, in this case, I'm just showing you examples of what it is. So in this case, look, blue, it's only 1 hose, it's a blue can, not the right pressure. So you just have to check around. That's the basis of it. Just check around and be absolutely certain. And then once you're absolutely certain of it, pick up the engine and bring it out and just mark the flyer so the helicopter can come out. Because as I said, lads, just make sure you're absolutely certain and just tell people if they don't know, do not take the engines, because it just causes so many problems. So I'm just doing it about 3 or 4 times, and just to make it easier for newbies doing this. So once you have the right engine, go out and set the flare. That's the easy part. Then survive the wave. The wave should be fine. If you're that concerned about ammo, just get an extra pack of ammo from the assets. So once the engine is cleared, you'll get this sort of notification from Bane that it's the right engine. Then all you have to do is survive the wave and escape. That's it. That's how easy this mission can be if you pay attention. Easy as that. So this should make it a tiny bit easier for newbies going into this game. So hopefully that clears up a lot, lads, because this mission can be very easy if you get it right, or unbelievably difficult if you get it wrong. So anyway, lads, that's going to be the end of this video. So cheers for watching.